Hi there. I would like to explain some more complicated versions of these problems so that you have something to look at or practice when you're trying all the activities that we have. So I'm just going to go through these examples step by step with you. I would not expect you to do these on your own, but of course you're welcome to try it on your own and then come back and check your answers. That's fine. Make sure if I am going too fast that you pause the video and make sure you get what you need. Don't just write down the answers. Write down all the steps so you can follow along. Here we go. So this first problem here only involves the multiplying exponents rule. And hopefully you remember that when you're multiplying, you multiply the coefficients and you add the exponents. Coefficients are the big number in front. So in this case, I'm just going to highlight them. Our coefficients are -4, 3, and 2. Those are the coefficients. So we need to multiply -4 times 3, which is -12, and -12 times 2, which is -24. Okay, so first we multiply the coefficients. After that, we add the exponents of the ones with the same base. So for x, we're going to add 5. Remember, this is a 1. And there's no more x's over there. So 5 plus 1 is 6. We have 6 x's. Okay. Now we're going to go to the y's. Here we have 3 and 2 and no more. So that's 3 plus 2 is 5. And that's it for this one. That's it for this one. But this set of parentheses also has a z. That's the only z there is. So we write down z. And that's it. That's the answer. Multiply coefficients, add exponents. All right? The next one is a division problem. Only division, nothing else. When you divide the coefficients and subtract the exponents. All right, so again, the coefficients are the big numbers in front, so we're going to play with those first. So we have -21 divided by 7, which is -3. W, we have 5 and 4, so we need to do 5 minus 4, which is 1. And x, we have 2 minus 1, which is 1. You can write it this way, but the best way to write it would be without the 1s, because we don't need them. If it doesn't have a 1, it means there is 1. All right, so that's basic division. Negative exponents, remember, means move. Okay, we need to move it. If we have a negative exponent in the numerator on top, we need to move it to the denominator. If we have a negative exponent in the denominator, the bottom, we need to move it to the top. So if we look at our problem, we have a negative exponent here for our r. That means, since it's on top, it needs to move to the bottom. And now it's positive. On the bottom, we had a negative exponent. So since it was negative, it means we need to move it. We're going to move it to the top. And now it's positive. And that's how a negative exponent works. Very simple rules. All right. But what about this one? This is adding and subtracting. When you're adding and subtracting, hopefully you remember that what you're going to do is combine like terms. All right. When we look through these parentheses, there are no like terms. So we can write that part without parentheses, because there's nothing to do inside. When we look at this set of parentheses, there are no like terms. So we're going to write that without parentheses. And there are no like terms in here, but with subtraction, we're really going to distribute. Okay, so -1 times x is -x, and times negative is going to be positive 7. Okay, so we use the distributive property here with the negative sign. That is important. All right, now we're going to look through this whole set of things and find the things that have like terms. So here we have x squareds. So we're going to look until we find some more x squareds. Here's some. Make sure you get that negative in there. It's important. All right, now we're going to look for the next thing. We have just x's here. So we're going to make sure we get that negative with the 4x. And here's another one that's just a plain x and another one. Remembering to get the signs in there. That's the second part. And then the last part, we're going to look at the constants. And we can put those together too. So we have 3x squared minus 3x squared. So 3 minus 3 is 0. We have no more x squareds left. Negative 4x plus 3x is negative 1x. And negative x minus x is negative 2x. Okay, so we just added, if you can see the calculator, we did negative 4 plus 3 plus negative 1 is negative 2x. Okay. Now we're going to look at the constants. 7 plus 7 is 14. So that's the answer. So in that problem, we had to use distributing and then combine like terms. All right, let's look. This one is multiplication. There's nothing else. It's just multiplication. That means we're going to look at the coefficients and we're going to multiply them. 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. Negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. We only have one variable, so we're going to add all of those exponents. We have negative 13 plus 4 plus 9, which equals 0. So we actually have negative 6j to the 0 power. Hopefully you remember what the 0 power means. If not, anything to a 0 power equals 1. And we explained why before, so hopefully you can remember. So we really have negative 6 times 1. And negative 6 times 1 is negative 6. That's that one. So now we're going to start getting a little bit more complicated. This problem actually has two different things. It's got that power to a power, and it also has multiplication. Just like with simplifying expressions, we need to go in the order of operations, and we need to do exponents before multiplying. So we need to distribute our exponents to all of the exponents in their set of parentheses. Remember that when there is no written exponent, there's a 1. And also remember that the power to a power rule means multiply exponents. All right, so we have 2 in the first set with a 1. 1 times 2 is 2. C with a 1. 1 times 2 is 2. D with a 4. 4 times 2 is 8. Second set, C with a 1. 1 times 5 is 5. D has a 1. 1 times 5 is 5. All right. I'm actually going to simplify this part here. 2 squared is 4, and everything else stays the same. And now we need to multiply. There's no more powers on the outside. It's time to multiply. We multiply coefficients first. We have a 4 here and an imaginary 1 right there. 4 times 1 is 4. When you multiply, you add exponents. So C, here we have 2 and 5. 2 plus 5 is 7. D, we have 8. 8 and 5 is 13. And now it's done. So we use two rules there.